I have met someone and I am dating. And I guess you'll have to tune into season 6 to see a little bit more of that. I feel like in many ways, moving to a really big, hectic city actually made my life more peaceful. And I think that's a lot more of like who I was spending time with and what was taking up like my emotional capacity. But I feel like moving to LA was just a big breath of fresh air. There's obvious differences, right, about like people and that kind of thing. I think the biggest difference for me was living in places that are more inclusive, that you see a lot of people and meet a lot of people that don't think like you and aren't like you. I think that was one, what I really wanted, and why I wanted to kind of move out of my bubble, get out of the South for a little bit, just be around people who live different. And yeah, I found some of that in Minneapolis and then found even more of that in LA. Okay, so when I was telling people I wanted to go to LA, right, they're like, oh, be careful. That's a really big, scary place. It honestly feels super peaceful. And besides like the noise outside my window that never stops, it feels like a little bubble. Well, first, I would probably tell them they need more than 5 hours because just getting to and leaving the airport will take up like 2.5 hours of that. But I would probably tell them to get out of LA a little bit, to drive up towards like Burbank, up towards the observatory, which is free. You get beautiful views of LA. Driving through like the hills of Burbank, there's so many like cute little local places. And then you can continue driving all the way over to Malibu. You can hit the ocean in time for like a sunset. You can get an In-N-Out burger and then be right back at the airport. And you've done like a nice little loop and you've seen some of the city views, but also like gotten out and enjoyed the hills and the ocean. There is one restaurant that's called the Edmond, and it's over towards like Hollywood Larchmont. And anytime like I'm getting together with friends or having like a celebration or something, we always go there. They've got like a fun cocktail menu. They've got fun little like tapas style plates and then a nice patio outdoors, and you can have like your dogs out there and everything. I'm a huge sucker for any restaurant where people can bring their dogs. You'll find me there. We love coffee, but specifically matcha. There's a little coffee shop called Community Goods, and it's so tiny that there's always like lines out the door, but still I feel like most people don't know about it, and they have such good matcha. I always tell people about that place, like they should absolutely go there. I've been a part of the show, or the show has been a part of my life, I should say, since I was 20. It started with me getting married and even in getting divorced, although that feels in some ways kind of final as like my separation from the Plath family. I think there was still a few loose ends to tie up, and it's kind of like the full picture. You get to see everyone making different life choices and everyone working through different things and why and how they land where they do. And so to me, it felt like a better representation of the full picture. As soon as Ethan and I were divorced, I was like, okay, I'm gonna take a little bit of time. I'm gonna focus on myself. I'm gonna go to therapy. I'm gonna like try to work through some things. And I think our marriage had slowly ended enough to the point where it felt like I had time to kind of get adjusted to the idea of being single before we were actually single. I have met someone and I am dating, and yeah, you can't tell from my smile. It has just been such a healing experience, just such a fun experience. And I guess you'll have to tune into season 6 to see a little bit more of that.